of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry to open the event.
Good morning to everybody. It is my great honor to welcome you all then the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Slovenia. A particular welcome to Professor Dr. Joachim Mnich, Cern's Director for Research and Scientific Computing, Dr. Igor Papič, Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, distinguished representatives of government, companies, research and educational institutions, a warm welcome to you all. Today, we are gathered to celebrate the 70th anniversary of Cern, an institution that has been instrumental in advancing science, technology, and international collaboration. Its contributions have extended beyond research and innovation, fostering education, skill development, and business opportunities on a global scale. At the Chambers of Commerce and Industry of Slovenia, we take immense pride in our role as a partner in promoting these opportunities. With almost 6,000 members, CCIS has long been a cornerstone of the Slovenian economy. For over 170 years, we have supported businesses through times of change, growth, and innovation, always adapting to meet new challenges, including those presented by big science. In recent years, CCIS has taken several strategic steps to strengthen Slovenia's position in science and innovations. Last year, we signed a historical alliance with the Coordination of Independent Research Institutes of Slovenia, the Rectors' Conference, and the Government of the Republic of Slovenia. This cooperation agreement represents a commitment to fostering synergy between research, academia, industry, and government. Also, in 2023, we established the Strategic Council for Research, Development, and Innovation, which monitors global trends, supports collaboration between science and industry, and promotes effective mechanism for financing R&D and activities. This year, we launched the Alliance in-za, a partnership focused on creative industry to drive innovation across sectors. Additionally, since 2022, we have strengthened our cooperation with the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation to promote Slovenian companies in doing business with Cern, ensuring they have access to this unique ecosystem. As Slovenia prepares to join Cern as a full member state next year, we are fully committed to helping our companies seize this opportunity. We are here to explore how Slovenia businesses can integrate more efficiently into this demanding market and leverage their expertise to compete on the global stage. CCIS remains dedicated to fostering collaboration between industry, academia, and government to create a supportive framework for success. Through initiatives like the Strategic Council and the Alliance in-za, we are building a future where Slovenia companies can thrive in innovation-driven industries. I am confident that the insights shared today will provide valuable guidance as we work together to position Slovenia as a key player in big science. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and I look forward to productive discussion and inspiring ideas that will emerge from this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vesna, for these inspiring words. Now let's welcome our next speaker, Mr. Igor Papič, PhD, the Minister of Higher Education, Science and Innovation. His ministry is also a co-organizing partner to this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear Madam General Manager, dear distinguished guests from Cern, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, friends, it's a pleasure for me, of course, to be here today to welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation to this event, organized primarily with the help of the Slovenian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Of course, our ministry is participating, and as far as I know, also Research Institute Jožef Stefan. As we know, Slovenia is in the final phase of becoming a full member of CERN. We proved in the past as associate member that we have excellent researchers in the field of physics, in the field of engineering. We also proved that we have adequate facilities, research facilities here in Slovenia, because, I'm talking about the conditions, what were the conditions to become a full member. And of course, it's important that it was also in the interest of CERN to have researchers from Slovenia on board. And of course, finally, if we want to be a full member, we want to provide also very clear commitment of the Slovenian government that we will support these activities in the long-term period. And of course, it's in our interest that beside excellent collaboration in the field primarily of physics, natural sciences, and of course we have also engineering knowledge involved in CERN. Now in the third part is absolutely also how to better integrate our partners from the industry. I see this participation in two ways. One is, of course, to have certain number also from Slovenia that can provide certain services to CERN, to supply certain components to CERN. And I see the ecosystem of CERN also as the provider of new technological solutions that can be used also in other fields of economy, not only for the pure experimental research. So I know that in the past, roughly 20 companies from Slovenia already participated in different activities. They gain excellent experiences, excellent opportunities. As far as I know, there is another 60 companies that are interested in participating in the future. And as I said before, Slovenian government during this process provided very clear support for these activities. And of course, now we have this option to extend the collaboration also to the industrial part. We have very clear commitment, I would say, both from the Slovenian Chamber of Commerce and Industry on one side, and also from our ministry, that we will support these activities, that we will assist Slovenian companies to join this, and of course we have to improve this collaboration as well. Not to be too long, of course I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate CERN for successful 70 years of experimental work. CERN significantly contributed not only to the development of physics, of engineering, but I would say to the, generally speaking, to the development of the world. Allow me to finish with a very clear idea. I'm really looking forward to seeing Slovenian flag in front of CERN in the first part of the next year. So I wish you good exchange of opinions. I believe you will get some additional insights, how you can work together with CERN, and of course I wish you a lot of success also in the future, all together. Our colleagues from CERN are of course our partners from Slovenia. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for your thoughtful opening. Up next, we have Professor Joachim Mnich, PhD, the Director of Research and Computing in CERN. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure for me to be here, being invited by you. I was asked several times yesterday and also today, is this your first time in Ljubljana? No, it is not. It is not. I think I count 4. And the last time I was here was in February, when we had the task force visit of the CERN task force here to evaluate the Slovenia as compared to full CERN membership. So I think this event has 2 headlines. It's CERN 70th birthday, which we are celebrating. Not only at CERN, but in all member states, in all associate member states. And the second, and the minister just mentioned this, is the progression of Slovenia to become a full CERN member state. But let me look back a bit into history. I think the first Slovenian group came to CERN to the Atlas experiment, which is one of our big experiments at our flagship project in 1996. So it's almost 30 years ago. And since then, Slovenia has been a strong partner in science, but also in technology. It made strong contributions to the Atlas experiments, to the detector, but also to the physics analysis. Computing was mentioned. There is the Vega High-Performance Computing Center in Maribor, which I learned when I was here in February is really one of the key partners of the experiments and helping quite a lot. Theory, there's a strong theoretical physics group here in Slovenia, which also contribute to our science. And now, and I'm coming slowly to the future, is Slovenia, the institutes here, are also strong partners in preparing the future of CERN. You know, we are now working on a huge project, the upgrade of the accelerator, providing 10 times more collisions, fantastic. And you also have not only to improve the accelerator, but also the detectors. And there, Slovenia is a strong partner in one of the key parts, without going into detail, the so-called tracker, which is really a high-tech device. And Slovenia is really a key partner here. I have been in February in one of your companies, Elgoline, which is producing really a very high-tech flex cable for the electronics, which is was a breakthrough also for the experiment to get that. And this is just one example that's on top of my head. I'm sure there are many more. In German, we call them hidden champions, which we will have to discover then in future. We also visited the Triga reactor, which is also a key infrastructure because it is used to test, for instance, electronic components and their radiation hardness. Can they sustain the very harsh condition at our experiments at the accelerators? And this is also a very important part. Now, for the future, we of course hope, and we discussed that in February as well, there is interest here in joining another experiment, the so-called LHCb experiment, which I hope that we will also have a chance. They are now in the design phase, so it's not yet clear how this experiment at the end will look like. And they have now 10 years. In 10 years, they have to be ready. So this is, I think, another opportunity also for Slovenia. Big opportunities are ahead. So now Slovenia is moving towards full membership. What will that change? I think two things. First of all, and maybe most of you are interested in that, it will open more opportunities for you because there won't be a cap anymore on, for instance, the Slovenian personnel at CERN. There won't be a cap anymore on the procurement from Slovenia to CERN. And secondly, and which I consider even more important, is Slovenia will have the full voting right in CERN Council. So you know, CERN Council is the supreme governing body of CERN, and the way it operates is very simple. One country, one vote on that. So, and I think in particular now it is important because the CERN Council has, a few months ago, launched a new strategy process, which is very important because it will determine the future of CERN, will determine the future of the field, and I think it would be very good if also Slovenia has a strong voice in shaping our future. We are working, and some of you might know, on plans, and this will be part of this strategy discussion on an even larger collider for the future. And also this is something very important where we, of course, also then hope for your support in Council. CERN is a science lab, so we are investigating the fundamental laws of physics, how the universe is functioning. And at this point, I have always to be very careful not to give you a 1-hour lecture on this as a physicist, so I will refrain from that. The point that I want to make here is that in order to do this science, we have to develop technologies in a very, very broad spectrum, from computing science to electrical, mechanical engineering, cryogenics, you name it. At the end of the day, I think CERN is more a technology lab than a science, a lab for fundamental science. You have to keep that in mind, I think. Also, which is often forgotten, but for me personally, as a former university professor, it's also very important. It's also a place for education. At any given moment in time, there are around 3,000 young people which do their PhD work in experiments and accelerator and in other departments, etc. 3,000 across the world. I found this, when I learned this number, really amazing. And I think this is also, these young people, they get training on modern technology and computing, artificial intelligence, and all the other things that I have named before. I think this is also very important. I don't want to talk too long to you, and before concluding, there is one message that I also want to give to you, in particular also to politics in Slovenia. CERN is owned by its member states. And so you hopefully will be soon a member state. So it will be your laboratory. It will be a Slovenian laboratory. The only little feature is it's not inside the boundaries of your country, but a little farther away. But that, I think, is a minor difference. And I can only encourage you, make use of it. Make use of CERN. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Mnich, for setting the tone for today's event. Now let's move forward with our program. It is my great pleasure to introduce a keynote speaker, Ms. Maruša Bradač, PhD, professor at the Faculty of Mathematics and Physics at the University of Ljubljana, to share her view on the importance of the large infrastructures for the economy and science.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be here today and share some first-hand ideas on how important large infrastructures are for us scientists. My name is Maruša Bradač and I'm from Slovenia. My career started with sparkles in girls' eyes when astronomy was mentioned. And they were met by enthusiastic parents who supported me at every step of the way. I studied physics at the University of Ljubljana. After 2 years, I decided to try a semester abroad, 1 semester, at the University of Bonn in Germany. That 1 semester turned into 23 years abroad. After a master's and PhD in Germany, 5 postdoc years at Stanford and UC Santa Barbara in USA, and 13 years as a professor at UC Davis in USA, it was my time to return to my educational home, back to the University of Ljubljana. My years abroad have been full of opportunities. They have given me something I could not imagine having in Slovenia. Leadership access to the best astronomical infrastructure in the world, including the currently most ambitious telescope, James Webb Space Telescope. This $10 billion, or 10 billion euros, can be just as well, telescope was launched into space on Christmas Day 2021. Here is the last picture we saw of James Webb Telescope. It was departing, and it was truly a very emotional moment for me, not just because it was Christmas, but because I knew we are up to something really good. Although there was some scare on how this will all go, but luckily we know now that it went perfectly. It is truly a work of art, not only in innovation, but also in collaboration between scientists, engineers, and most importantly, all countries around the globe. Every single astronomer was impatiently awaiting the launch of James Webb Space Telescope. Why? Well, for one, it delivered these stunning photographs of the deep space. Here is an example of stellar nursery in the pillars of creation. You can simply watch stars being born in these images. But while we are dreamers, well, at least I am, the real reason why we were so excited is because it offers us a giant leap forward in understanding the cosmos. It took the collaboration of all major space agencies in the world, NASA, ESA, European Space Agency, and CSA, Canadian Space Agency, to build this telescope. Clearly, $10 billion is not a simple number to come about. But even more than money, getting the expertise and know-how to do such a major invention required us all. Today, a little girl sparkles in her eyes, can imagine having access to some of the best astronomical infrastructure here in Slovenia. Slovenia is soon to become a member of the ESA, European Space Agency, and with that, new opportunities are opening. Similarly, today we are celebrating CERN. CERN now has 70 candles on its cake, but most importantly, it has a 70 years history reaching groundbreaking achievements both in physics and technology. Today, CERN has 24, well, soon 25 member states, and a vibrant community of 17,000 people representing more than 110 nationalities. This is what makes it unique. By Slovenia taking part in this endeavor, we are not only participating in world-class science, we are solving other problems that are so fundamental to our advancement as a society. In Slovenia, I see incredible opportunities. Slovenia is diverse, multicultural, and interesting. Slovenia is by far the best place to live, with beautiful mountains and plenty of opportunities to ski. That's important to me, of course. You might ask then, why did you move to the US? And I will give you one simple answer: infrastructure. At first, I did not want to move at all. Remember, 1 semester abroad was all I could manage. But then an offer came that I couldn't resist. More and more, these opportunities shaped my life, and multiple times I was very eager to return, only to find myself convinced that this is not a great career move. However, today things are different. With Slovenia entering CERN and ESA, we have created a great start to hamper this brain drain. By definition, brain drain is the departure of educated, professional people from one country, economic sector, or field to another, usually for better pay or living conditions. But honestly, this is very naive. Scientists don't leave because of salaries. Scientists are not economists. Most of us care about things that are much more fundamental than this. What drives us is that almost childlike curiosity to explore new things. To us, the world is less a series of facts, a number of Europes. It is a playground of whys and what-ifs. And just like children, we need a playground to play. By Slovenia taking a more active role in CERN, particle physicists will not have to move abroad. And they will stay not just to continue their career in academia, but also they will stay here for the private sector. Just like CERN was built to prevent the brain drain from Europe to the US, Slovenia is starting to give us the playground that we need to stay here, and it's doing it now. So we are not only building opportunities for scientists, we are also giving them to our companies. CERN is synonymous with technological breakthroughs. With advancement in particle detectors, superconductors, and computing, CERN's innovation also fuel industries. And this is why we are here today. In addition, CERN technologies have contributed to medical imaging and cancer treatment solutions. And while doing all this, CERN prioritizes sustainability. From renewable energy technology to environmentally conscious engineering practices, CERN's initiatives align with global goals for sustainable development. All of this is very high on Slovenia's priority list. By joining forces, we can learn and do better things. In the end, I'll even dare to say something about the economy. Mind you, I'm the last person who can speak of that, as I'm not even able to balance the simplest budget of the tiniest project. Ask our research officers about that. But what I do know is that the greatest inventions do come from major science investments. World Wide Web, which revolutionized global connectivity, was invented in CERN. I still remember those days when I sneaked into my father's work with those old-fashioned computers with no graphics to surf the web. Yes, I'm that old. And talk about the camera in your cell phone. Astronomers did that. Because they wanted profit? No, they wanted something better than photographic plates to image the sky. While searching for a solution, they realized that the memory stick, yes, exactly the one memory stick you bring to your grandmother's home to show them the photos on the TV, is photosensitive. And now the entire world is using that technology. I guess that would have been quite a valuable patent, wouldn't you say? Science is a collaborative effort. Just like the James Webb Space Telescope, which was built by the three great space forces, by necessity rather than joy, mind you, but nonetheless, CERN is not just a Swiss project. Not even a country as rich as Switzerland can afford that on its own. And the same is true for all large scientific infrastructure projects. Slovenia is lucky to be able to join these endeavors. It might seem like a large investment to you, but they always return in multiples, and more importantly, they return in good and unexpected ways. So I urge you to continue allowing us to play on those playgrounds. And remember, the biggest threat to new inventions is only repeating proven practices. The future is exciting, and all we need is to dare to do extraordinary things. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Bradac, for this insights in scientist mindset and drive. Since the 7th anniversary of CERN is inspiration for today's event, I would like to invite again Professor Mnich to give us some insights in CERN's greatest achievements and future endeavors. No? No? Okay. Then we will skip it. And we will go to explore the market opportunities that companies can anticipate from CERN. And I would like to invite Mr. Peter Volasco, the National Coordinator of Horizon Europe, Science Division at the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's very difficult, for a civil servant to continue after such inspiring speakers today. I was carefully listening and admiring, the speakers before. I'm just, as I said, a humble civil servant, and I would like to share with you a few thoughts about the big science market opportunities. It's not my original area, so please bear with me. But I think it's important today to also discuss how the worlds of science, research, and industry, the private sector, should match and actually work very close with each other, and as Professor Mnich and Professor Brodach have mentioned before, it's becoming one world also in this area. So the old concept of knowledge triangle is now becoming old-fashioned, and now this very close collaboration and very dynamic collaboration between different angles is even more important than in the past. So what is big science? According to definitions, big science is an international market platform functioning on a business partnership of organizations such as CERN or ESA or ITER, for instance, and of course companies, private sector. The big science market refers to large-scale, highly funded, as we have heard already, scientific projects and infrastructures often initiated by governments, research organizations, or international consortia. Big science can direct the development of industry by investing in realization of their goals, dreams, as we have heard also, and for instance by creating new technologies, including high-tech, of course. Big science can also create a lot of new jobs, which is also important. At this market, a supplier of specialized installations or components of scientific equipment, or for instance a construction company may get a contract with CERN, for instance. These projects require cutting-edge technologies, materials and services, creating substantial opportunities for companies across various industries. Big science may therefore be a prospective investment and an opportunity for development and growth for companies. Big Science Hub is a place where science and business meet. We are talking about knowledge flow platform that provides the advice about how, with whom and where to establish profitable business relationships. The companies can there join the database of companies and institutions related to innovations and new technologies and find best partners for collaboration. They can also present their business and analyze the potential of other companies, universities, research centers, and business environment institutions. The opportunities of big science market. Of course, there is a participation in the supply chain. Contract, subcontracting, both are the potentials for the collaboration, different ways. Advanced research and innovation. Big science projects push the boundaries of technology, requiring innovative solutions that companies can develop collaboratively. Participating companies often gain access to cutting-edge research and development processes and helping them improve their products and services for other markets too. Global visibility and prestige. We have heard today a lot about that. Collaborating with prestigious institutions like CERN, European Space Agency, or NASA gives companies global recognition. Successful delivery of products or services can enhance a company's reputation as a trusted supplier of advanced technologies or services. There's also access to new markets. Companies involved in big science often discover new areas for their innovations in other industries such as healthcare, energy, telecommunications, and so on. Technologies developed for big sciences can spin off into consumer or industrial applications, for instance, medical imaging devices. Collaborative networks. Engagement in big science projects fosters partnerships with academic institutions, governments, and other companies. These networks can lead to additional business opportunities. It's never ending, as Professor Brodach has been said so far. Knowledge exchange and joint ventures in diverse fields. A lot of opportunities here. Funding opportunities as well. Big science projects often provide funding for suppliers to innovate, which helps companies mitigate financial risks associated with R&I. Governments or international organizations sometimes offer grants and incentives for companies working in collaboration with these projects. Diversification. Companies can diversify their business portfolio by entering a stable, high-demand sector. Benefits for the companies. Technological advancement, one of the first ones. Collaborating with big science projects often requires the development of highly advanced technologies, enhancing a company's expertise. The acquired knowledge can be leveraged in other markets, making the company more competitive. Long-term contracts are also very important to have the stable environment here. Big science projects typically last a long time, offering long-term, high-value contracts that provide financial stability and predictability too. Economic spillovers. Technologies developed for big science often have broader commercial applications, creating opportunities for other contracts in other areas. For example, vacuum technologies and cryogenics developed for space exploration have been applied in industrial manufacturing and food preservation. Skills gain as well. Employees working on big science projects gain unique skills and expertise, improving a company's human capital and innovation capacity. Sustainability and green transition. You know that we are talking in Europe a lot about twin transition, digital and green, so this is a very trendy kind of mantra of all the policymakers, politicians. Many big science projects have a strong focus on sustainability, allowing companies to align their goals with global sustainability trends. Companies can use their participation to demonstrate environmental responsibility, which is attractive for stakeholders and also, of course, for the politicians and policymakers. Boost to SMEs. SMEs can access markets that would otherwise be out of reach through partnerships and consortia associated with big science. Specialized SMEs often thrive by providing niche products or services. Economic and political support. Big science projects often enjoy strong political economic backing, as we hope also here in Slovenia. You know, ensuring the playgrounds, as Professor Brodač is saying. Reducing risks for participating companies or also researchers. Governments often protect and promote their industry's involvement in these projects, ensuring constant demand. That should be also the case here and in Europe as a whole. Cross-sector innovation. Participation in big science projects exposes companies to interdisciplinary challenges, encouraging them to develop solutions that have applications across sectors. For instance, artificial intelligence used for astronomical data analysis, now used in financial modeling. Concrete cases. CERN, of course, to start with it was already mentioned before by Professor Mnich, Large Hadron Collider. Companies have supplied superconducting magnets, cryogenics, and advanced electronics. Spin-offs include advancement in medical imaging, MRI technology, for instance, and data storage solutions. You see, it can be really multi-sectorially applied, which is very important. European Space Agency. We have heard about that before also. Companies involved in satellite and rover development have commercialized space-grade materials for telecommunications and Earth observation. Technologies developed for ESA missions are now used in renewable energy and robotics too. ITER, fusion reactor, maybe the most, let's say, future hidden champion, as you would put it. We know that fusion is one of the ultimate solutions in many areas, so, but sometimes too neglected. Engineering and materials companies have developed new methods for handling extreme temperatures, now applied in advanced manufacturing processes. Why big research infrastructures matter in general? 2/3 of the EU's economic growth derives from research and innovation, accounting for 15% of all productivity gains in Europe. European research infrastructures, mostly gathered in so-called ESFRI, are an essential pillar of this development. They play a key role in the creation of advancement of knowledge and technologies as well. They improve the efficiency and effectiveness of research and contribute to the overall advancement of the European innovation ecosystem to be competitive with the American and Chinese, at least. Breakthroughs in basic research are almost always unexpected, as we heard today, and often consist of combining previously known knowledge. Accumulation of knowledge is important here, in a new and innovative way, often across disciplines. That's why the European Research Council is so important, because it's really nurturing the basic research, the fundamental knowledge accumulated, which is needed for many different challenges. We can just remember the COVID crisis, how fast actually the researchers in medical area had to cope with this challenge. Big research infrastructures are also an important resource. Research infrastructures represent a powerful resource for industry. Many times they are a crucial medium for collaboration between industry and academia. Cooperation with infrastructure projects also provides opportunities for European researchers and European industry to develop high technologies. The potential for developing spin-offs from the technological advances is also significant and can be supported in future by better links between with the European Innovation Council as well. Research infrastructures provide unique training opportunities and play an important role in the education and upskilling of new generations of scientists, engineers, and data professionals, which we know, and we discussed before with Professor Mnich, is a kind of deficitary area. So we need a lot more of technicians, engineers, not only in Europe, but also in US and other parts of the world. Sometimes this area, this mid-level kind of expertise is too neglected, and we should do something more in this regard as well. Most interesting industrial areas, usually, just to mention them, engineering and manufacturing, information technology, material science, energy, healthcare. Thank you. I will finish here because you have more interesting speakers after me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Velasco. We will now adjust the program a little bit. So I will now give a stage to a group of esteemed guests who will discuss how important is the support system to include more companies into the big science. The roundtable will be moderated by Mr. Samo Tuma, CERN's Industry Liaison Officer for Slovenia. He's responsible for connecting CERN with the Slovenian industry. Samo, the word is yours. Yeah.
I think everybody can hear me, right?
Zaradi kamere, veš?
Okay. I see here. Yeah, maybe the guests can already join me. They know who they are. I will make. It doesn't work. This doesn't work. Can you hear me? Hello? How about now? Okay, now it works. Okay, good. Hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Samo Tuma. I am the Industrial Liaison Officer to CERN. I'm very glad today to be joined by our esteemed guests and speakers. It is my pleasure to be really speaking about this topic. I myself have spent 5 years at CERN. I'm not a researcher, I'm just an engineer, but I could really feel the impressiveness of that place. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speakers. I think this would be nice. So first of all, we have Mr. Adam William Horridge, Procurement Section Leader from CERN. Hello. We have Ms. Mariana Majeric, Executive Director for Strategic Development and Internationalization of the Chamber of Commerce. We have Nate Zgornik, CEO from Elgaline, the company we heard about before, delivering these special things for Atlas. We have Dr. Slobodan Šešum, Director General of Directorate for Economic and Public Diplomacy, Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs. So, welcome everybody. Thank you. So I would like to start with you, Adam. I have a question. So in this, let's say, global era where companies are having opportunities everywhere, we all live globally, we travel to vacation far away, we do research in different continents. There is many opportunities for companies. So in your opinion, how can companies leverage the opportunities offered specifically by big science? I'll just pass around the mic. Sure.
Okay. I can make use of this, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for the question. It's an interesting question. I think reflecting, first of all, as I do from a procurement perspective, that's the domain I work in, it's very easy for us to have statistics on contract awards, who won what business, but what we're really interested in understanding better is the impact on that company. You know, how they take that learning on, what it means to them back home for external markets. So periodically, we also survey companies to try and get that feedback from them. And we did a very big survey back in, I think, 2018 was the last update, and we're doing a revision of it right now. We found in many cases, in the vast majority of cases of a sample of 700 companies, they were developing new products entirely. They were learning new skills amongst their team. In certain cases, I think almost 20% of the companies were opening brand new markets, which, okay, 20% might not seem like a big number, but 1 in 5 opening a new market because of the work they've done with CERN, for me, actually feels quite an important proportion. So there are clear benefits to doing business with CERN, and the statistics that we're seeing at the moment on an interim basis for the new survey are even better than they were back in 2017. So we like to think that doing that business with us really does present clear opportunities and benefits for companies. I think another area as well, which kind of touches upon what Peter was describing before, is there's an increasing kind of cohesion now between big science infrastructures. A couple of months ago, we had the Big Science Business Forum not too far away in Trieste. It was the 3rd iteration, and more CERN and other big science institutes are kind of talking together, sharing best practices, because a lot of what we do involves the same techniques or similar techniques. So if you do some business with CERN, there's a good chance that will have a very positive effect on your references and your reputation for other big science institutes as well, and could open further doors there. Obviously, we have some wonderful pictures from the astronomy field on the very, very large, and we're looking at the very, very small, but often the tools that we need to build to do that are quite similar. So it can be a door-opening opportunity too.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think many companies in Slovenia would also agree with that. So, next question is for Mr. Gornik. Let's say a bit more from the company's perspective. You know, us who work in the private sector, we are used to doing business-to-business transactions, but working with big research infrastructures is probably very different. So, what would you say in your experience with CERN? What were some of the best practices for efficient and fruitful collaboration which you managed to grow over the years, and how does this really look from a company's perspective?
From Helgoland experience, collaboration between research infrastructures and companies creates opportunities for new technologies, for innovation and progress. Our experience shows that the secret to success is quite simple. There must be clear communication, trust, and everyone must have the same goal to reach excellence and to be innovative. Our collaboration is with CERN is quite good example. There's a combination of knowledge of companies from our group, Helgoland and Intective, and also very good cooperation with Jožef Stefan Institute. Our collaboration started 20 years ago. It's important from the start to explore interests and technical possibilities. From our experience, face-to-face meetings are especially efficient. Slovenia is a small country, and we have all the partners an hour drive away, so that's the benefit. Companies must see also opportunities for development and growth, while research infrastructures look for partners who understand their needs and offer them solutions. At the beginning, it's very important to share goals, timelines, and capabilities of both sides. Open communication help solving problems, and Helgoland always have a strong support from the owners for new technologies, for investments in new machines, which is also important to reach goals and offer to market quality products. Every collaboration brings challenges, like technological issues or material issues. It's important to stay flexible and work together to find solutions. In our case, we have worked closely with Jožef Stefan Institute and solve most of the material issues with them. So collaboration help us learn more about new materials, processes, and technologies. we can say that each project is a stepping stone for another one. And our example is collaboration on Atlas experiment. With Jožef Stefan Institute and Cerna, we developed flexible printed circuit boards. Through collaboration, we made a few steps. For example, we changed design from 3-layer to 2-layer flexible board to making it more reliable. We innovated by developing deep laser etching process and securing a patent for it. And we grew through new knowledge, references, and technological improvements. I can say also that collaboration with research infrastructures is more than just a business opportunity. It's a partnership that helps companies to innovate, grow, and of course improve their position in the market. On the other side, research infrastructures get advanced solutions.
Wonderful. Thank you for this very practical insight. You made it almost sounded like it's very easy, but I'm sure it was a long road. So congratulations. Next question is for Marijana Majerić. CERN is a big place with many companies they can address the tenders. And my question is more on the level, let's say, how can companies, in your opinion, improve their competitiveness in the international market, and which concrete activities does Chamber of Commerce offer to them to help them?
So I think that, firstly, congratulations for 70 years of the CERN. But I think let's say, to improve competitiveness, I think on this international markets, not only on the CERN, let's say, platform, it's for companies, it's really important that they need to focus on the areas like innovation. So without innovation and R&D, this is, let's say, substance that drives every company toward their success. Of course, sustainability, as we see that our world is rapidly changing. And yesterday, when we were sitting together discussing, let's say, the contrast of that last week in Switzerland, there was really cold, and even the snow started to fall. And then in the next, let's say, few days, there were like 17 degrees Celsius. So sustainability, I think, is crucial as well. And the second thing, or the third thing, is for sure digital part. So digital transformation. We heard that artificial intelligence, then quantum physics, and so on. These are the new, let's say, areas that we should consider and be more diving more in this field as well. But on the other hand, although that we have robots and digitalization without the human beings, so the workforce, and I think here it's really must on upscaling the skills of the companies. Of course, developing unique high-value products and services is something that gives us a differentiator. But additionally to that, I think that formatting strategic partnership and staying informed about the global market trends can, let's say, additionally provide a significant leverage for the companies. So we as Chamber, that is 173 years old, we are having huge spectrum of how we are helping the companies to excel internationally. So we are targeting, let's say, missions by the B2B matchmaking events. preparing our companies really specifically. So they are not big delegations, but we are having and targeting specific needs of the companies during the branches, and of course seeing the some regional, let's say, perspective within the different countries. And of course globally. Then we are offering business opportunities to establish direct connections in new markets. Again, 173 years gave us a possibility that we concluded many contracts with the different chambers, as well as we have access to the national agencies. So through that, and of course technology parks, incubators, areas of innovation, and so on and so forth, so that they are, when they're coming to the new markets, they're landing in, let's say, safe space.
They're in good hands.
That's right, they're in good hands. And of course, we are making these tailored consultancy services, so making the market analysis, of course, compliant with international regulation. And of course, we are helping companies with to help the export financing, cross-border logistics, and so on and so forth. But let's say leveraging what is going on in the CERN part, I think we here do a lot of that. We are, let's say, bringing the big science organizations together with companies. So the homework needs to be done at home. And then through that, we are helping, let's say, companies to, let's say, monitor the possibilities to collaboration with the CERN. But maybe just one step back is that there is a lot going on of digital internationalization. I think the many companies are not aware yet about that, and this is something what we are doing now in Chamber. So we are doing this kind of digital acceleration toward new markets, and of course we have expert accelerator for the specific markets or general markets, as well as let's say targeted brands.
Thank you for this complex insight. Yes, we have another speaker joining us. I can stand also. Okay. Please, I would like to welcome. We started a bit earlier, so Tanya wasn't late, but I would just like to welcome you to the stage. Tanja Permozer, Head of Slovenian Space Office, Ministry of Economy, Tourism and Sport. Welcome. Okay, so now continuing with the discussion, I think the next question is for Dr. Slobodan Šešum. So we heard from Mariana how Chamber of Commerce, what kind of services do they offer to the companies, how can they accelerate business, but how can the government help, the ministry? So how does science through diplomacy work?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for inviting a diplomat to such a distinguished panel and having the possibility to address these companies and scientists. That's why I will try to put it from a broader perspective and start from the beginning. I will be very short.
Okay.
So nowadays science diplomacy is very often used word, but from how I see it, it is just one buzzword. So it looks like that we only today found out that we need science to tackle climate problems, that we need science to tackle, I don't know, to cure cancer and so on. I always say that from ancient Greek times, from Heraclitus, when he said that the only constant in life is change, basically nothing changed from that time. The only difference is that those changes are happening faster, much faster. So the only difference is speed. And I always say that also now we are talking about innovation and so on, but also the diesel engine was made by scientists. So now something that nowadays is something very forward-looking, tomorrow will be just an old industry. Anyway, how do we see science diplomacy? We see science diplomacy as connecting innovative companies with high added value with research institutes abroad. So we are pushing very much this and trying to connect economic diplomacy with so-called science diplomacy. Basically, you can call it whatever you want, but the end game is always the same. And I always say that it would be something wrong if we as a diplomats would understand what you are doing. But then we had many meetings with companies that they were presenting to us what they were doing. We were scratching our heads. And then we turned everything upside down, that we are visiting on a regular basis all strategic research and innovation partnership. We are on a regular basis at the Ministry of Science and Education, and on a regular basis we are on Jožef Stefan, on the Institute for Chemistry, on National Institute of Biology. What are we doing there? On the first meeting, we presented to companies of strategic research innovation partnerships what we can do for them. We presented that we can be an instrument in their hands. And after that meeting, we are only listening, nothing else. We are just listening and trying to. So in this last year, we had 90 projects abroad. This year, by the end of October, we had already 90, so more projects than the whole year. As a whole diplomatic and diplomatic, consular and diplomatic representation abroad, we had more than 10,000 contacts with companies, but pushing those that are, now you call it innovative, with this called innovation, to keep it, to say it just in another way. So nowadays the most often question is, have you read the Draghi report? Well, with this question, you answer to my many sub-questions. If you are dealing only now with innovation, with productivity, with having to connect science and innovative companies, then you are some 20 or 30 years late. That's why we present to those companies what can they expect from us. And I can say just a few very good examples, such as strategic research innovation partnership in circular economy, where their members said to us, we would like to have contacts and to go to Denmark, to France, to Italy, to United Arab Emirates. So they gave us a task, which we performed. Otherwise, when they were presenting to us all their things that they are doing, so we didn't understand really everything, and so there was a gap when they were rightly expecting some actions, but we didn't know on which door we have to knock. But when they say to us now, we would like to have those contacts, those projects, or those meetings, okay, we understand, and we have homework, and we go to do it. So this is basically, I hope that it was understood. So we try to give the ball back to you, and just after that, just to listen to you and not to interfere in what you are doing.
That sounds wonderful. So basically, I really like what you said. Companies can use you as an instrument.
Yeah, I will not to go into the details, but in this presentation that we are running around Slovenia, and we are visiting also innovative companies, presenting also to them what we are doing, that they feel that this nowadays diplomacy and economic diplomacy, not just only a Security Council where we are members right now, but is also actually a service at their disposal.
The way to open doors.
Open doors, and that they have to know why are we there for them.
Thank you, Slobodan. Next question is for Ms. Tanja Permozer. So we touched upon innovation, which is in itself an interesting word. And in your opinion, what is the role of innovation and high technologies, high-tech companies in big science?
Thank you so much, and please accept my apologies for being late. Slobodan was talking about speed. Now we are in full preparations to become a full member of ESA, and speed is the right word now. And every minute counts. So yeah, thank you for the question. in space, everybody play a crucial role. So it's the industry, it's and academia. In academia, I think this is universities and institutes. And what we are doing, we are trying to connect industry and academia to work together. And of course, innovation space is really a special place, a special tool to foster economy, to foster benefits in society, politically, so everywhere. And what we are doing is trying to connect industry with academia to work together in ESA projects. Our industry, we call it our space sector, is really good in Earth observation, in artificial intelligence, so in many, many areas. I must say almost everywhere except the launcher program. So we are particularly participating in scientific programs, in new materials, microcoolers, downstream applications, upstream applications. We are also have this bed rest study. So almost everywhere. And in the launchers, we have a company which their measurement systems are incorporated in every launch pad all over the world. We are not part of the launcher programs, but in a way, yeah. So innovations, technologies, new technologies, development, knowledge, these are bases for the to be good in the space program.
Thank you so much for your answer. It seems like there is a lot to innovate going to space. And there is no do-overs, right? Once you launch the rocket, then...
Well, I must say that our companies, our space sector is very competitive toward the others. And this also represents the results that we are going to be a 23rd member of ESA from the 1st of January. And I must say, with this step forward, the doors for the industry and academia is now more open than ever. We have now, from end of August on, the calls, as Slobodan said, knocking on the doors, this raised for 3 or 4 times. To be honest, I don't know why, because we will be the same as we are now. It's just probably the momentum being a full member is so different. Really, let's say, it's an excellent approach, I guess.
Awesome, great. So congratulations on all your work. Now, a similar question would be also for Mariana. So, again, I will repeat the question, but I think it's interesting to also ask it to the Chamber of Commerce. So, what is the role of this cutting-edge innovation and high-tech in big science?
So, I would like to say that, as Slobodan mentioned, companies are innovative all the time. So it's something that is not that this comes new for the companies at that point, but it's like really important that due to the fact of the new technologies and speeding up everything what is going on is different. But on the other hand, looking what is going on now in terms of globalization and new wars that are appearing, let's say old new leaders that will come, let's say, on the place. So this unpredictable part of this, let's say, equation where the change is a constant part, this is something that gives us a totally different part. So in the past, we had somehow, let's say, the drawers where we put, let's say, some of the activities. But these days, let's say we are, as a chamber, dealing a lot with, let's say, the structure of the Slovenian economy in terms of that, let's say, we have a really, really huge amount of the small, medium-sized companies. And therefore, this innovation, it's need to be put in the processes because they were innovative by themselves, but you need to continue with these cycles of the innovation. And let's say taking the CERN platform as the possibility, not for the only big companies or the scientific-oriented companies, but from the whole perspective, where are the opportunities? So through that, we are, let's say, doing our business well. So not only CERN, but ESA and other, let's say, these kind of agencies are those that we are, let's say, putting or giving the strength to the companies through the, let's say, empowering them for the procedures that need to be done, through the, let's say, partnerships that can be done. Let's say, Nate nicely mentioned the Atlas, let's say, project. At that time, when I was in the technology park of Ljubljana, it was like that. We really helped because we came out from the Institutom Jožef Stefan. So this collaboration with the researchers, with the companies, and we did it a lot in solving the problems or the let's say, new opportunities on Atlas. So this is something that we are like mediator on that regard. So when CERN or ESA or someone else has, let's say, some call or the new informations or workshops or open days or something like that, we are immediately involving our 13 regional chambers, 25 branch chambers, as well as our strategic and development department, as well as internationalization. So we are mobilizing immediately, let's say, our companies to be part of that, to raise awareness and see these opportunities that are given through this kind of platform. And as Professor Marusha was explaining with his sparkling eyes and the dreams that not only researchers but the companies these days have, this is something that is added value for them.
Thank you. It surely is. I can confirm I was ILO since the beginning, more or less, when CERN joined. I only have this experience, but I can say that collaborating with Chamber of Commerce and the Ministry was always very, very good and very fruitful, I think, for everybody. So next question is for Slobodan. You already touched a little bit upon this, but in my experience as the ILO, I learned that we can do a lot with Chamber of Commerce, but there is also the role of the government in this industrial business with big science. So can you tell us a little bit more how can, for example, Ministry of Foreign Affairs support companies in engaging with big science, or even maybe CERN specifically?
Okay, so the very short answer would be the same as the first answer. So I would like just to say that with this speed and everything that is changing, our words are overlapping. So we are constantly working with the Chamber of Commerce, with Vanya, with Big Science, and maybe you can say a few words about the agreement that you signed between Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation and Chamber of Commerce. And we'll give you just a few examples. So we, with the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Innovation, we organized days of Festival of Innovation and Science and Innovation with Italy, where also there were present researchers from Jožef Stefan Institute. They signed few agreements with the researchers from CNR, Italian National Research Center. There was also present Minister Papič, who signed an agreement, and companies, innovative companies from space industry and circular economy. There we try to open the door also with some bigger facilities and industries with Italy. And again, we just opened the door. The same, we organized also the Festival of Innovation, Science Innovation with India. together, and the same we can do it also with Cerna. And in Geneva, we have also a diplomat that is highly engaged in all activities, and the most important thing is that the colleague that is there really understands what is all about Cerna. So this is the most important thing, so that it's not only about Cerna, but you have to understand all the possibilities, all the activities, all the how the Cerna is working to have this possibility to work also with you in very close relations, and again, just to try to open the doors and to share this information for the benefit of the companies and researchers.
Thank you, Slobodan. This is what I was fishing for. I think that this presence that we have in Geneva is important thing that we can all use. So thank you. So next question would be for twofold, for Mr. Adam Horich and for Mr. Nate Gornik. You can start. But it will be a similar question, and I would like to illuminate this from two perspectives. So dealing with CERN, for example, what skills and competencies do companies need to thrive in such an environment? And what, in your opinion, are some do's and don'ts?
Okay, yeah. So a good question again. In terms of specific technical competences, obviously there's a broad range there. Maybe more focusing on organizational competence and organizational culture. We find that we work very, very well with SMEs. We don't have an SME policy. Some big science institutes do have a dedicated policy. We don't. It seems to almost organically have evolved that way, that we work well together. And I think that's because if you consider CERN as basically one giant prototype, what we're asking for is really pushing the boundaries sometimes and really going to the limits of what is actually buildable. So to do that, we need to deal with companies who have that appetite, that have that flexibility to try things that are new. If we're dealing with a huge, massive company that has enormous clients who they can just churn out the same serial production day after day and make millions, then maybe CERN isn't such an attractive client. So we really appreciate engaging with companies who do that, have that appetite and that ambition to try things that maybe are a little bit different, and that works very, very well. In terms of do's and don'ts, maybe I'm stating the obvious to some extent here, but we try to keep our tender packages as clear and succinct as possible, but we always encourage companies to really read them, digest them, and most importantly, ask questions. Always feel free to ask questions at CERN. I know before I came to CERN, I worked in the private sector the first half of my career, and that was a different dynamic. You weren't allowed to ask questions. You had to speak to procurement, and we would tell you what we wanted to tell you. At CERN, we want to have that dialogue with you. We want to understand if we're maybe doing something wrong. You are the experts in your domain. We want to learn from you, particularly when we're in that phase of pre-qualification. Let us know what your ideas are. Are we asking for something that doesn't look quite right to you? Have you seen something elsewhere that may be a better consideration for us? Flipping that into the do's and don'ts again, once we're then in the tender phase, hopefully we've clarified everything for you. Please bid for what we've asked for at that point. Because we also see companies who are so enthusiastic to show what they can do, they will offer something maybe way, way beyond what we actually need. And we're in a competitive environment. Somebody else is hitting their price at the point that's needed for exactly what we've asked for. So kind of don't do yourself out of the opportunity either. So again, even during the tender phase, we can clarify points for you, but please take that time to digest what we're asking for. And similarly, I'll touch upon it in my presentation to some extent. At CERN, we have our own dedicated procurement rules. So you may have familiarity with working with other public bodies that work to EU procurement rules, for example. We don't do that at CERN. I'd like to think they're a bit more light touch and a bit easier to follow, but they are distinct. So again, just take the time to appreciate what that means and what those processes and procedures are. And we're there to help demystify that for you. Samo and his team are there to help you with that kind of conversation as well. So I think those are probably the most pertinent points I would share.
Thank you, Adam. And Nate, perhaps if you'd like to illuminate this from a company's perspective, so what have you found are the competences that you need, and what are your do's and don'ts when dealing with such a beast like CERN? No, I mean it in sense of complexity, obviously. Okay.
Okay. From Helgoland experience, success in big science environment needs special skills, knowledge, and well-organized approach. The key skills for success are technical knowledge, communication skills, adaptability, systemization, and global orientation. Big science requires understanding advanced technology, both software and hardware, and knowledge of materials and processes. Employees from development, sales, purchasing, logistics to production must be very skilled professionals. The company must be able to quickly find solutions to challenges which appears in different areas. Communication is very important in these projects. It's important to present information clearly. Listening skills and asking the right questions are necessary to understand the requirements, especially when they are not very clear. Big science projects often change, so we must be able to change plans quickly. We should not see these changes as mistakes, but as chance to learn and improve our solutions. For large scientific projects, a clear and systematic approach is necessary. This means it starts with small prototypes, testing them, optimizing, and so on. It's important to carefully test and validate materials and process to meet the highest quality standards. Finding a global solution is also often a key to success. When we face problems we can solve alone, we must be ready to get help from other companies, from other experts, and institutions around the world. With these skills and the right approach, a company can successfully handle also the most challenging scientific projects. And okay,
please.
About do's and don'ts, we have few advices for companies which want to cooperate with CERN. The first thing is that you must to be confident because you are an expert in your field. Important is also clarity and openness. We need to present problems realistically and offer solutions, even if it takes more time. The next one is propose improvements. So if you see changes that could make work easier, you should share your ideas. And if there's some problems, you should report problems even if you are not responsible for them. It can help to move project forward. And also quick responses are important for the same way to keep project move forward faster. And about what to avoid when cooperating with CERN, very important is to not ignore problems when they appear. There must be very clear communication, so avoid giving unclear or incomplete information. Development projects take time, so be patient. It's important to stay calm and give the process time. Sometimes it can take few years from the beginning to serious order. The last one is overconfidence. That means that collaboration is teamwork, so together we can achieve the best results. Our practical example from cooperation with CERN on Atlas experience, we used a well-organized plan So together with Jožef Stefan Institute, we were testing and validating materials. We were collaborating with experts from Elgoline, Intective, and also Cerna, and we improve process and selection of best materials to ensure high quality performance.
Thank you. Very, very interesting. My final question would be to Ms. Tanja Permoser. We already touched on this topic before, but it's about best practices, how to work with research infrastructure. So could you share a little bit of what are some of the best practices for companies working with ESA, and perhaps maybe you could even give some concrete examples of successful partnerships and projects.
Thank you so much. May I just add what have been already said, that according to my experiences, it's not only to sign the agreement with somebody. We signed the agreement with many other space agencies like ASI, CNES, Luxembourg. We are about to sign with Algeria. Okay, the signing the agreement is one step, but then how to get the projects, how to be part of the bigger of the primes. This is, I must say, at least for me, this is the most difficult task for us. And I talk, let's say, with my French colleagues, how to be part in TAS, in Safran, in Airbus. They all smile to me and say, okay, Tanya, you see, we have our partners, we don't want to change it. And I said, okay, my companies are flexible, they're innovative with new technologies, give us a chance. Oh, let's wait, Tanya. Yeah, you said, it takes time. Okay, it takes time, but for the companies, time is not, let's say, a friendly moment, because it's you need project, you need fresh capital, you need to develop. So, we spent a lot of time drinking coffees, spending lunch times, dinner times, discussing with them, asking them, help us in what way. So it is not so difficult to be part of this big game, I must say. I don't know, sir, I'm talking for the ESA and also for the EU space program, like being part in Copernicus, Galileo, GovSatcom, and others. It's really difficult for the industry. But nevertheless, in some cases we succeeded. We have, let's say, I think everybody knows company Skylabs. When I started working in space, they had only one employee. Now they have more than, I think, 35, but please correct me if I'm wrong. And they are working almost in every space segment, from technology, from new materials, satellites, cameras, artificial intelligence, microgravity, radiation. So they are present almost everywhere. And we succeeded to engage them to be part also the bigger companies like Thales Alenia Space, Safran, Airbus not yet, but it's this Vega company in Italy. We are trying now with some German companies, so it's not so easy. Yes, and now collaboration between industry and universities. This is the same case where University of Maribor collaborate really closely with the company Skylabs. Then we have also one case is Space SI. They work really closely with other companies, at least in the past, with Synergize, with Cozy Lab, and others. We have Institutom Jožef Stefan, who collaborates with other many companies. So our goal is, of course, industry to be the leader, but nevertheless, having on board academia. So this is for us, let's say, prime combination.
Science diploma. Okay, that is wonderful. Thank you all very much. I hope this was interesting for all of you. I hope we can now thank the speakers. I think they deserve it. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please hold on just a few more moments because we've shrunken the program. We will have lunch. We schedule lunch at 11:15. So please bear with one more presentation. Mr. Adam, could you just continue with your with what you've prepared? I will just switch on.